Hey, welcome back to Cool Quotes. Today you get to learn how Donna Douglas got the part playing Elly May Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies. It all started with her role on The Twilight Zone episode Eye of the Beholder. The episode aired November 11th, 1960, and Donna plays the character Janet Tyler, who's living in a world where everyone has a pig-looking face, except for her and a few other people. So Janet goes through experimental surgeries to change her appearance, and each one fails. She comes out looking like beautiful Donna Douglas. But that is unacceptable in society and to her. She doesn't want to look like those ugly, scary people and have to live with them, the outcasts. So they decide to give her one last surgery, her seventh and final try. And as they unwrap the bandages from her face, you see beautiful Donna Douglas, but to her and everyone else, hideous, a monster. She screams and freaks out. They grab her to take her away. She starts running for her life. She does not want to go with the monsters. No, no. Oh man, you gotta see this episode. It is really something. In a world where everyone looks like a pig, the beautiful people are considered ugly. Now that is a reference to how we feel about ourselves in society, in the real world. We're never satisfied. We're always comparing ourselves to some other standard. It's deep and it's also like Twilight Zone freaky. This episode generated so much demand that stations were calling and wanting to rerun it as soon as it aired. But by the summer, before they could even get it back out there, they got a lawsuit. Stuart Reynolds, a television producer, sued writer and producer Rod Serling for the use of the name. At the time, Reynolds was selling an educational film of the same name to the public schools. Rod Serling felt like this was a shakedown just to get money, since the two films had nothing to do with each other. He went ahead, though, and changed the name to The Private World of Darkness so he could go ahead and take advantage of the hype and re-release it in reruns. Eventually, the lawsuit was dismissed by a judge because two books, two movies, two songs can share the same title as long as all of the contents are different, and in this case they were vastly different. So later on, when they reran it again, they were back to the original name, Eye of the Beholder. Now fast forward a couple years and Donna Douglas goes in to audition for her part on the Beverly Hillbillies. She already made it through a couple of the casting calls, and now it was time to be in front of the producers and read scripts and act out scenes with them. So she goes in and there are these 5 people sitting at this desk. And she has to stand out in front, and they're asking her questions, talking. They want to get to know her. They know she's made it this far from the associate producers, and now they go ahead and look down at her resume. And the one says, "It says here you were on The Twilight Zone. Which episode were you in?" And she said, "Eye of the Beholder." She said before it even finished coming out of her mouth, one of the producers on the far left leaned back in his chair and yelled, "Oh my God, that's my favorite Twilight Zone episode ever." And then 2 other ones started talking about how great that was. "Oh man, you were awesome. I heard that there was all these trouble trying to film at different angles for the mask. Is that true?" And they started talking all about how it was filmed and how she did, and they loved it. Donna said that by her being in that one episode, changed the entire dynamics of this audition years later. All of a sudden, they knew who she was. They liked her, which made her feel less nervous and have more confidence. Actually, she said, she was having a lot of fun during this audition, which is something that never happens. Donna says, it just goes to show you, you should always do the best possible job that you can do in any given situation, whether it is a part-time job or some big unknown project. You don't know how it's going to turn out, how it's going to affect you, but you don't know how it's going to affect someone else. To them, it could be the best thing ever, because beauty really is in the eye of the beholder. Now, before they could seal the deal and hire her to play Elly May Clampett, they had one more test for her. Behind them, they had a giant temporary wall built, and they said behind that wall is something that we need you to interact with. And depending upon how this interaction goes, well, That's part of the audition. So come on up and let's do this. Now, if you want to hear the rest of this story, I made the entire Donna Douglas story on my Cool Classics channel. So click the card above and go check it out. If you like this video, leave a comment, subscribe. It's a small new channel. I'm just hanging out over here, sharing cool stories of my favorite entertainers.